What's going on? It's your boy, Brother L, and I'm back with another one. And this one is about the male female relationship dynamic. All right, the male female relationship dynamic. And I'm coming to you, as I always do, from a biblical perspective. All right, because there's nothing new under the sun. All right, everything that we've been told about male female relationship dynamics in this modern westernized society is a lie. Okay? Everything that you've been told about it is a lie. All right? Now, here's a story. All right? Because before we even look at the beginning of time, before we go all the way back to the very first male female relationship, which is Adam and Eve, let's look at it from today's perspective, right? All right, so here's a story. And this story is basically, it's going to sound a lot like your story, and it's going to sound a lot like mine. All right, because we were taught one way, right, and we done it, and we didn't get the results, right. Most men didn't get the results. All right, so a man did everything right. All right, a young man did everything right with a woman that he was with. All right, he didn't cheat. He showed her affection. He showed her love. He always checked up on her. Um, he did his best to be charming. He paid for all the dates. He provided for her. She needed a little cash, whatever the case may be. Here you go, sweetheart. He did everything right for this woman, and things are going good, at least from his point of view, right? So a period of time passes by, and that period could be anything from whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades, whatever the case may be. A period of time goes by, right? And then you start noticing the games. Then you start noticing the lack of interest that the woman has in you. All right. Now that honeymoon phase is over and reality is setting in, and you notice she's pulling away. It's like she's drifting away, and you're getting you're getting fearful of losing her because it's like it just ain't the same no more. She don't have that pep in her step no more when she sees me. She don't have that smile and that glow in her eye when she sees me. You notice things have changed, all right? And you're like, well, maybe she's just getting used to everything. Maybe the excitement's wearing off. She's just getting used to it. But then some type of big catastrophic event happens. And I'm not saying that the event itself is big, but the impact that it has on the relationship. It could be something so small as you might have glanced over at a lady or something, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" Or it could be something that's so big as you came home and she's in the bed with another man. Whatever the case may be, something happens in the relationship, and it causes a catastrophic change in that relationship, which ultimately can lead towards the end of the relationship, or it can lead to the beginning of the end or to a definitely downward trend in that relationship. All right. But there's usually some big time catastrophic event that happens or some type of event, even if it's small, it causes a catastrophic event or she blows it up into a catastrophic event, or it could be a series of little events, whatever the case may be. Just something happens and it changes that relationship for the rest of the relationship, and then ultimately that man, after all of that, that man he feels defeated. That man is just totally like defeated. He's an emotional wreck, and he's in a emasculated state. He doesn't feel like he's the man that he should have been. Or he feels like a piece of him has just been crushed or destroyed, or all of him. You know, his heart been put into a blender. All right. This is the cycle of almost every single relationship, especially looking at it from a man's point of view. Okay? Especially in today's society where we don't tend to marry our high school sweethearts and stay together forever, right? This is the cycle of one, two, three, four, however many relationships you had. This tends to be the cycle, especially for my men. If this is the cycle for you, go ahead and comment in this comment section below. Let me know if this happens to you. Or if it's not, let me know too. All right? Let me know your experience. But definitely I can say it happened to me. And I'm probably speaking like I was right there watching your relationship and like it happened to you. But this is a pattern that's been ingrained in our relationships since the beginning of time, since Adam and Eve. All right? And I'm not one of those people that make stuff up or talk tall tales. You can read this in the Genesis account, chapters 2 and chapters 3. Genesis, chapters 2, not verse, chapters 2, chapters 3. You can find this account, all right? Adam prays. Okay, Adam is lonely. He wants a wife. Well, he doesn't even know what a wife is at this point, right? Because all he has is him. But he's lonely, and so God gives him the animals, and they don't really, pets are one thing, right? But they don't really do it for him, right? So God puts him to sleep, takes the rib, and creates Eve, the prototype woman, all right? And Adam sees her, and Adam is like, oh my gosh. Adam just breaks out into praising Eve, in total adoration of Eve. And I want you to pick up on something too. What does Eve say in response? Exactly. The scriptures record Eve saying nothing at all. And everything about scripture is intentional. And I believe that was intentionally left out because that was her attitude towards it. What happens when men press up on women? When they, oh my gosh, golly, girl, you were so fine. Oh my. What happens when men usually do that to women? They're usually like, okay. Like, they usually had the reaction that Eve had. She didn't really say. I can see Eve over there now looking at him like, this guy okay? God, are you sure about this? Like, you know? But the fact that she didn't say anything is a red flag right then and there off the bat. At least it's recorded, nothing's recorded of her saying anything. So, but hold on to that. Hold on to that because that goes to the second point, which is again, like I said earlier, a period of time goes by. Now we don't know how much time, but we do know that everything didn't happen all at the same time. These events were recorded, and then subsequently these things happened. So we know that some type of period of time went by, whether it was 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 decades. We just know that some point of time went by, and then we see a lack of interest in Adam by Eve. Okay, where do we see this lack of interest? Well, She finds comfort in the words of another. She finds comfort in the words of a serpent. Okay, a talking serpent, a talking snake. Oh my gosh, we got talking people, right? Okay, people they supposed to talk. Well, we got talking birds, right? Parakeets. Sometimes dogs or cats might even murmur a word. We got videos of that. Not AI either. Like real words that cats or dogs might murmur. So why is it such a stretch to believe that for once, especially in the beginning of the world, that a snake or a serpent can talk? And we all know that the serpent is actually not just a regular everyday serpent. This is, I don't even like saying his name, but this is the arch enemy of God, Satan. Okay? God bless us. All right, but so obviously, obviously, there's a lack of interest in Adam if she's going over and talking to someone, some serpent. All right, it's a serpent, some serpent that totally went against everything that her husband told her, right? Don't listen to what God said. Oh, oh, but God said we can't do this. I don't listen to what God said. And subsequently, he's also saying don't listen to what your husband said. But God is the ultimate one. God is the husband of us all, right? We're ultimately married to the Father, not in no homo types LGBTQ way, but I'm talking about marriage as far as in the relationship aspect that we have with that with God. All right. If she not reverencing God, you know for sure she ain't reverencing her husband. All right. Well, we do see that lack of interest from Eve, as Adam was right there. Adam was right there, and this goes into a lot, right? I mean, you could teach so many lessons just off of that. Um, when you out in public or you out somewhere and somebody comes up to you and it's you and your lady, unless you're in a foreign country, because you know that's what my experience is. But unless you're in a foreign country and can't speak the language, and back then it was only one language on earth. No man, no person should be walking up to you too and speaking to your woman on the side while you sitting there quiet, like you the cat, like you the child, or like you the woman. You should say, "Excuse me, how may I help you? What's going on? What can I talk to you about, brother? You know, it's my wife right here. You know, it's my lady right here. How can I help you? I got you. You know, he didn't do none of that. But keep in mind that there was a clear lack of interest in Adam, and she took that role. Okay, when a woman has a lack of interest, that's when she'll step up and fill in the roles or the weaknesses that she sees in you. All right. And then of course we know the catastrophic event. This is going on for a little while, but and I might put this into two videos, but screw it, I'm gonna keep on going because this is good stuff. All right. The catastrophic event that we all know is they had one job, not to eat the forbidden fruit. And what did the woman do? This is why it's not good to let women lead relationships. Because if she leads relationships, she's usually going to lead it to the end of the relationship. And what does she do? She does the opposite and gives to her husband, and he eats. That's the catastrophic event that changes the relationship, not just their relationship, but all relationships for all time get changed because of that event. All right, because they pass on that sin gene that they etched into their DNA when they did that. Right. All right. So that's the catastrophic event that changed the relationship, and also it ended the relationship with God. So like I said, the catastrophic event doesn't always end the relationship, or it could be the beginning of the end of the relationship, or it could just change the relationship because we know that they stayed together. Um, there wasn't no other woman he was going to hit up, so they stayed together, and they ended up having children, and that's how we're here. Okay. And ultimately, Adam is defeated. He is emotionally destroyed and he is emasculated. How do we know this? Because he was afraid, he was hiding, and all of that. And he tried to dodge the blame. So he definitely was defeated. He definitely was emotionally destroyed. And he was emasculated because God was like, "You listen to your wife?" And then he was like, "All right, because you listen to the voice of your wife, now you're gonna have to work overtime just to meet the bills. Now you're gonna have to do this, that, and the other to live a comfortable life. All right, if you live a comfortable life, because guess what? It's gonna be thorns and thistles and stuff. That's gonna be all up in the grass, poking you, stabbing you, and all types of stuff like that while you farming, trying to get food." Or not even farming at that moment. They're just probably hunter gatherers by that time. All right, so yeah, you just gotta understand this. a lot. Like I said, there's so many lies. I don't have time to go over all the lies that you've been taught. But men and women are men are a lot more alike than we are different. Women are a lot more alike than they are different. People are not as unique as you think that they are. We have a lot more in common than we have that is different from each other. So every man is like Adam, and every woman is like Eve. Men love women more. All right. Now that might get a lot of backlash, but I can prove it because the numbers don't lie. Mathematically, just look at how much men spend. Men take on a lot more dangerous jobs. Men risk their life every day to provide for a woman, be it police officer, be it military. And you may say, oh, women do that too. Yeah, women do it, but it's like they make up like 10% of the forces. You know, there's not a lot of women on construction sites. They're there. They do exist, but mostly men taking these high risk jobs. We just had two guys hurt last week. Um, we risk our lives every day providing for women that we love, and women ain't gonna do that, and women not gonna pay all the bills, and women not gonna, you know, en masse, women not gonna do those things that what men do. We love women more. The math says that. Okay, women desire the men that they can't stand. Women desire men that they can't stand. Okay, they don't even want to be with most of the time. They don't even want to be with the man that they with, but they desire him though. And that all goes into I forget the exact verse off of my head, but if you read Genesis 3, it's in there where God says that the woman will desire the man, and then the man will rule over the woman. The same exact wording is used in the next chapter, right before Cain kills Abel. Spoiler alert. But right before Cain kills Abel, then God says, sin is knocking at your door, and sin desires you, but you must rule over it. The same exact sentence that God Himself said about women, He says in the next chapter about sin. So the relationship that a man has with sin is the exact same relationship that a man has with women. That was scary. That was scary. When I learned that lesson, that was scary because the church is not going to teach you this stuff. I'm a part of the church. I teach at the church, but I'm not going to teach this at that church, especially at a liberal church, because they're not going to understand these principles. They're just not going to understand. Okay, all right, but because a lot of them are so out of touch. Okay, but I'm telling you, this is relation dealing with women is basically almost the equivalent of like dealing with sin, and it's not me saying it. God Himself said it. God Himself said that. It's in the Bible. If you don't like that, you gotta take that up with God, not me, because He described women, the relationship with women. He described it exactly the same way as He describes the relationship between man and sin. All right, so women desire the men that they can't stand, the bad boys. They always complaining about the men. They say the deadbeats and all of this and the other. They are putting them in on child support because they say they don't take care of the kids. Why? Because the women are gravitating towards these bad boys, and it was written in scripture so long ago. All right, now time with a woman increases attraction for men. But women are the opposite. Women are the counterpart. Okay, a lot of times we like to say helper, but actually the original Hebrew says God created a counterpart to Adam. So women are the counterpart. They're the total opposite of us. So time apart increases attraction with women, or we could say time with time more time spent with women annoys them more, annoys the woman more. So the more time you spend with a woman, the more she's gonna annoy you, the more tension, the more you're gonna annoy her, the more you're going to annoy her, the more tension, the more fights, the more arguments, the more games. All right. Time apart is healthy in a relationship because it increases attraction between a woman. But don't spend too much time apart. And I don't recommend long distance relationships because women, you gotta watch them. God Himself said that. Okay. Man's natural role is subsequently to preserve relationships, whether he knows it or not. It is not subsequently, but subconsciously is to preserve the relationship, and a woman's natural role subconsciously is to destroy the relationship. And I really should make this 2 videos. So I'm probably going to elaborate on a lot of this stuff more because I'm hitting on so many topics right now. But women's natural role, and they don't mean to do this. A lot of them don't. Most of them don't. Some are straight evil and will and seek to destroy guys. But all women, without them even knowing it, they subconsciously aim to destroy the relationship. All right. Ultimately, men must seek to overcome temptation from a woman. Okay? Ultimately, out of all of this, I want you to get this. Men must seek to overcome temptation from women, be emotionally healthy, and also to always maintain a masculine frame in the relationship. Always maintain masculine frame relationship. So if you ain't learned nothing about what I said, learn these 3 things. That men must overcome temptation from your woman. I'm gonna say your woman, from all women, but from your woman most of all, because that's the one who you're gonna be the closest to and easily persuaded by. Like Eve easily persuaded Adam to do the opposite of what God said. All right. So always overcome temptation from a woman, especially your woman. Be emotionally healthy and stoic. All right. Stoic means that you're unfazed, unbothered. Be emotionally healthy and stoic. Always show positive emotions, but don't be walking around like you on a glee club. Just don't be bothered and complaining and all this and the other. And always maintain a masculine frame. Be a man. Be strong. Be positive. Don't take no stuff. Don't be weak. Don't be no walkover. But don't be sitting there complaining all the time. All right. And for women, my women out there, if you're still watching this, ultimately, women without them knowing it, they subconsciously do this. I'm gonna say this again. They may say that they don't. They may even try not to. But subconsciously, they can't help themselves but to desire a man, and usually the men that are not had their best interests at heart. But without them knowing, they desire a man, and they desire to destroy that man. But only godly male leadership can help her to stop this. Where Adam messed up was he was quiet, didn't say nothing, and didn't tell his wife no. The most powerful word in your relationship, and one of the most powerful words in life, is no. You don't have to put up with the bullcrap. Yeah, you might get lonely. She might leave you. You might be there by yourself. So what? I'm pretty sure that God made one. I'm pretty sure God would have put Adam to sleep, snatched out another rib, and made him another one that was better than the first one that he had. All right. But he was so afraid to lose her. So afraid, so in love with her, with that body and all of that, that he did what he shouldn't have done, and he allowed the woman to lead the relationship and lead it right into a ditch, right off the side, right into a bottomless pit called hell. All right. So, I say all of this, and I'm gonna wrap this up because it's a very long video. But I say all of this because it's very important to understand female nature, and the Bible is the best at understanding this because right off the break, the Bible begins with the marriage, and it schools you. It schools you on a heavenly level, the top-notch level of how all relationships should be. Everything you need to learn about relationships is in Genesis 2 and 3. And then even when you go into 4, you'll see how what it's really about. It's about, as Paul wrote, it's about the spirit behind people. It's about spirits in high places, principalities. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and high places and stuff like that. All right. So it's all about that battling in the sin nature, and I believe that that's why God gave Eve to Adam. Because Eve, he thought that. Well, first he gave him the animals. That didn't work. Then he gave him Eve, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this," but that didn't really work out, right? So the third thing that he gave him was Christ, and Christ definitely worked out. So if we all just behave more like Christ, because Adam is the first man, and Jesus is the second Adam. He's the firstborn of the new creation of man. If we be like the second Adam, not the first Adam, but like the second Adam, Jesus, then the relationship is going to be a lot better than what the first man Adam had to deal with, than what you got to deal with. All right, so that was a long one. If you're still watching, man, you gotta like, comment, and subscribe and share. All right, and let me know what you thought. I want to know what you think, and just stay strong in the faith. All right. I'm not one of those prosperity people preachers that's gonna tell you that your wife coming and all of that, and the family with the house and picket fences coming. Look, you may pray for a wife, and God gives you your Eve, and the next thing you know, you're getting evicted out of your house and you're living on the streets. All right, because that's basically what happened. They got evicted out of that mansion, that garden, and they was living out in the wilderness, freezing, um, digging through thorn thistles for berries. All right. So yeah, that was a lot, but go ahead, tell me what you think, and God bless you. Peace, and until the next one.